Hello and welcome back to my videos. In this video we want to speak about Docker and how a Dockerfile is working. This is an overview where I will explain a little bit more about what you can put inside the Dockerfile. The Dockerfile is a way where you can automatically install a container. That's meaning if you know from the VM, you need to type every single command like apt-get install, nginx, node, and yeah, you know. The point is, when you use the Dockerfile, then you can say you want to use from the image like node, and then you want to build from this, and then based on everything inside your Dockerfile, it will execute commands based on what you explain. I hope it makes sense. So let's go ahead and I'll explain a little bit more about what you can type inside the Dockerfile. So let's go in for the first command. It's called from, and the from tag is using to define which image you want to work with. Like I said before, you can say you want to use the nginx, the node, the Apache, whatever you want to do. The next is the label, and the label is using when you need to add a metadata. It's like who is the maintainer and something like that. It's not requirement, but it's good to tell who is maintaining this Dockerfile. Then we are coming for the run command. The run command is a trigger command that will run a command after you have installed the images. So if you want to install, let's say, npm inside, and you just say I take it from the Ubuntu image and I want to install npm after you have spinned up the container, then you can use the npm apt-get install npm, and then after you can say now I want to go in for my directory and then npm install for the project. That's what you want to use the run command. And in Python you can use it to install the pip requirement files, and in PHP you can use it to install the composer. When you have creating the Dockerfile finished and you need to starting up your application, you need the cmd command. That's the command after everything is done. You will run this. It could be like Python and then application.py, and then you will spin up the application for this. It's meaning if something is going wrong, the container will destroy it and close down. And in npm you probably will use it like npm run serve build, something like that. Then we are coming for expose, and the expose is using for define which of the ports it should be default. Like it's an nginx web server, you will probably use the 80 as a default port. So when you run up the Dockerfile, it will use the port 80 like a port, so you can connect outside and into the Docker container. And if you use it in the Mongo container, you will use 27017 and so forth. If you use to define environments variables, you can use env. Env is the way you can define the environments variables outside from the Docker environment to go inside the Docker container environment. And here you can define different environments. So are you running in development mode, or are you running in production mode? And it could be depends on which server you want to connect to, like the database server, something like that. If you need to copy something from a directory inside inside your container, or you use it from a URL, you need to download it could be a zip file, something like that. And then you have add and copy. Generally speaking, I only use copy right now because I have it good to have everything down and then copy from a directory inside my container and not download it from a URL. But it's up to you. Copy is using from the directory inside the container, and the add is using to define which URL you want to download the file. Then we are coming for entry point, and the entry point is the final command you want to run in your Docker image. So if you have multi commands here, and you want to run something at the last, then you need to use the entry point, and always use commands before entry point. I will recommend this to not confuse the Docker installation. Now it's coming for the volume. The volume we have speaking, if you have seen other my Docker videos, the volume is the amount point, and it's defined where should this container store the data if you want to outside coming inside. And here you can use the volume, and you can of course define multi volumes in a Dockerfile. So if you have 10 mount points, you can just type it down and then it's working. If you have necessary to create a new user, you can use the user and then you can create a new user. But remember, when you create a new user, you can't use the sudo commands. So if your application don't need to run in admin mode, then you can create a user and run the application with it. So yeah, it's up to you. I don't use the user right now. And now we're coming for one of the very important commands. It's called workdir. It's the way you can define which directory you want to work with, like when you copy files from your volume into your container like app, and then you log in to the container and run a command. But where should you run the command from? Then before you run the command, I will recommend you to use the workdir and define which directory you want to jump to, and then run the command, because then everything is working much more smooth. Now for the last command, it's called unbuild, and I will remove my webcam here so you can see unbuild. And the unbuild, it's using to trigger instruction from into the image when it's using as a base image from another build. That's mean if you use unbuild and you're starting to create Ubuntu, then you do something. Let's say you install Nginx, PHP, Node, whatever, and then if I'm using your image to do something, then you can put unbuild on. That's meaning when I take your image and work with to install my software inside, then we trigger this command. It makes sense? I have not using it, but that's how I understand this command. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video about the Docker and the Dockerfile, and this is the overview, and I hope you enjoy. I hope you want to subscribe my channel in the right corner in the thing below, and of course if you have any questions, please make them in the comments field and I will try to answer them as fast as I can. And give it a like if you like it, and of course share it with your friends and put it to your playlist. Thank you so much for subscribing. See you next time. Bye.